All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking exactly how to construct a world-class, high-performing organization by tying together three completely distinct but deeply interconnected concepts. I really want you to think of building a company culture exactly like building a house. You need a solid foundation, you need strong structural framing, and you absolutely need the electricity to actually make that house livable and dynamic. So we're going to distill some key insights from three phenomenal sources to give you a complete, highly actionable blueprint for scaling a business effectively.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, the foundation, essential policies. Second, the framing, Amazon's leadership principles. And third, the electricity, mastering the art of radical candor.
So, let's start with Section 1, the foundation, essential policies.
We're taking a zoom-in approach here, starting way out with macro, company-wide structural rules. Because just like pouring concrete for a house, establishing clear, written policies is your essential first step. Think about it. When a business expands really quickly, unwritten rules spread through the grapevine, and that causes massive confusion. Written policies prevent this and protect the company as it scales. Our first source from ConvergePoint outlines 10 critical policies every organization literally must have. I've grouped the first half of these right here, and they're designed specifically to protect and guide your people. You've got personnel policies to set the basic terms of employment, safety and privacy policies to create a secure environment, and a strict whistleblower policy to ensure a safe, no-retaliation culture. Finally, employee performance policies define roles and goals. Getting these in writing ensures a healthy company culture where everyone knows exactly where they stand.
Now, the second half of these foundational policies focuses on protecting the business operations themselves. You need structured disciplinary action policies to address misconduct, technology policies to govern internet usage, and really strict payment policies so vendors and customers know your exact terms. And of course, confidentiality and document retention policies are absolutely vital to prevent legal liabilities down the road. If you don't have these 10 policies locked down, man, one bad vendor dispute or data leak means you're essentially building your house on sand.
But here is the catch, right? You can have the absolute best written rules in the world, but if your leaders aren't embodying the right mindset, those rules are just meaningless words on a page. So who is actually leading the way?
That brings us to Section 2, the framing, Amazon's leadership principles. Now, Amazon is totally legendary for taking the fluffy concept of leadership and operationalizing it into practical, scalable behaviors. The crucial point here is that leadership sets a framing mechanism for the entire company. As Jeff Bezos highlights in this quote, standards are incredibly contagious. Whether they're high or low, people will just naturally copy the leaders and adapt to whatever environment they are placed in. So if you want a high-performing culture, you have to frame it with relentlessly high standards.
Rather than running through all 16 of Amazon's principles, let's just focus on these 5 incredibly impactful ones that frame a resilient mindset. Customer obsession demands that leaders start with the customer and work backwards. Invent and simplify is exactly how you fight paralyzing bureaucracy. But I want you to pay special attention to the mentality of ownership. At Amazon, being an owner means you think long-term, you act on behalf of the entire company, and you tenaciously manage every single dependency. You never, ever say, "That's not my job." So ask yourself, do your managers act like employees, or do they act like owners?
Okay, so we have our foundation of policies and we have our framing of high standard leadership principles. But how do you actually maintain those high standards day in and day out without burning your people out? Well, this is the electricity that keeps the lights on inside our organizational house.
Let's dive into Section 3, the electricity, mastering radical candor.
You simply cannot maintain high standards without a safe, direct way to communicate. If you can't tell someone their work isn't cutting it, your standards will drop, period. Enter Kim Scott's Radical Candor framework. It really just comes down to balancing two things: how much you care personally and how much you challenge directly. Radical candor is that magic sweet spot where both of those are high. It means you genuinely care enough about the person to give them direct, clear, and helpful challenges. It's not about being brutal, it's just about being helpful.
To really understand this, let's look at the alternatives. If you have a boss who cares personally but fails to challenge you, like they just sugarcoat everything to avoid hurting your feelings, that is ruinous empathy. The feedback isn't actionable, and you never grow. On the flip side, we've all had the boss who acts like a total jerk. That's obnoxious aggression. They challenge you, sure, but they show zero personal care. And the absolute worst is manipulative insincerity, where there's no care and no direct challenge, just fake praise to your face and criticism behind your back.
Let's look at what this means in practice.
Telling someone your code is messy is just obnoxious. It points out a flaw without offering any path forward. But look at the alternative. You identify the issue, explain the benefit of fixing it, and offer specific, actionable help. See the difference? It shows you care about their success while directly challenging the quality of the work.
So to keep this electricity flowing smoothly without shocking the system, you can follow these exact steps from the Kaizenko playbook. First, give feedback humbly. Your goal is to help them improve. Second, give it immediately. Don't wait for a performance review 6 months down the line. Third, deliver it in person so you can read their body language and adjust your tone. Fourth, and honestly, this one is non-negotiable, always criticize in private, but praise in public. And finally, keep the focus strictly on the work, not their personality. Remember, you're critiquing the output, not the individual.
Which brings us to Section 4, building your high-performing culture. Bringing all 3 of these distinct sources together gives us our complete blueprint. Here is what you should really take away from this explainer today. By securing your structural rules with the 10 essential policies, you eliminate confusion. By adopting strong, actionable leadership philosophies like Amazon's ownership and high standards, you frame a mindset of true excellence. And by insisting on direct, caring communication through radical candor, you give your team the tools to correct course quickly and safely. When you combine these 3 layers, you build an environment where exceptional work isn't just encouraged, it literally becomes the default behavior.
So I want to challenge you to look at your own organization today and ask yourself this final question. Are your company's foundation, framing, and electricity strong enough to withstand the immense pressure of scaling? Figure out which of those 3 areas is your weakest link right now, because addressing it might just be the exact catalyst you need to start rebuilding your culture for the better.